The FAA revealed that Donald Trump's Boeing 757 clipped a parked plane when it landed in Florida. But the good news is Donald Trump flies around in a Boeing, so.
Yes, Saturday Night Live wishing death upon Donald Trump because they're commie pig dogs. Schweinhunds. Yeah. Joe Biden just falls down the steps of Boeing airplanes. You see, Joe Biden last week, somebody sent out a tweet in his name. It couldn't have been him. Saying, yeah, I'll meet you at the presidential debates. I'll be flying there on my plane. No, you'll be flying there on our plane. However, Donald Trump will be flying there on his plane. His Boeing 757, Saturday Night Live wishes him death because they're the left. They're the most murderous gang in the history of the world. They don't really do comedy. Comedy is not their bag, baby. Know what I'm talking about? All right, let's get to the rest of Joe Biden. Then we've got other things to get to as well. But Joe Biden this was in Atlanta, Georgia. Joe Biden went out and made a quick stop, and he's pandering to the black vote. He's sucking up for black votes because, you know, the Democrat Party, look at everything they've done for black people. They got the 40% abortion rate for black people. In some big cities, it often exceeds 50% abortion rate. So exterminating in a genocidal way the black population. And then the failed schools and the school to prison pipeline and the everybody must get shot. You know, it's kind of an update. Everybody must get stoned, but everybody must get shot. That's a Democrat Party mantra. Doing so much. And hey, there are all kinds of jobs for you. They brag about all the jobs. Yeah, if you want to be an Uber Eats delivery person, then the Biden administration has got a job for you. You're shaking your head like something amazing and ridiculous is happening across the counter from me here in the studio. Let's go to Joe Biden in Atlanta. He stopped at a restaurant or something, and it was a quick stop for a photo op because somebody told him there were black people there.
My opponent's not a good loser, but he is a loser.
Just ask Hillary. Because, and then, you know, last time around, I know you guys changed a lot of the voting laws in Pennsylvania, and there's some chicanery in Georgia and some things to take a look at in Nevada. And, yeah, but he's, you know, and I got to tell you, you don't know. Well, I'll get to this in a moment. He doesn't even know when he was vice president of the United States, speaking of loser. We've never had a president in our history who's been this much of a loser. Jimmy Carter practically vindicated by the Biden administration because he's so awful, so terrible. And then Joe Biden lied to the smattering of people that were standing there. They're just minding their own business, getting some food. And Joe Biden walks in and like, what the heck? The president of the United States and this whole entourage and motorcade and 100 people and bristling with guns. And he comes in and tells a couple of lame, bitter little jokes ginned up by lefties who are filled with hatred.
You hear about how, you know, we're behind in the polls. Well, so far the polls haven't been right once. Now, look, we're either tie or slightly ahead or slightly behind.
Either tie. You can't even say tied. Yeah, or the polls just don't believe. Why is telling the people there to not believe the polls? They don't, you know, they're not really sitting there thinking, gee, I wonder if the polls are accurate this time around. Not what they're thinking, but his brain is stuck on stupid. Pretty amazing stuff. Then Joe Biden made his way to Detroit, Michigan. It's just across a river from Canada. Maybe he's looking to escape. And Joe Biden, he got there and he's giving a speech to the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, also known as the NAACP. And Joe Biden had to introduce himself. They weren't sure who he was.
Hello, Detroit. My name's Joe Biden.
And I'm a lifetime member of the NAACP.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, the first organization I ever joined was the NAACP.
Right. Not the Cub Scouts, not the Weeblos. Was he a Weeblo? I think he might have been a Weeblo. Not the organization. How about the certified lifeguards of the state of Delaware when he was hanging out with Corn Pop and stuff? The first organization he ever joined was the NAACP. When was the NAACP created? Because I don't think it could possibly be, and nobody will fact check him on that because the fake checkers are not in the business of fact checking Democrats. Just amazing. Amazing people, these people. That's right. I like to call them these people because they seem to take umbrage with any reference to you people or these people. So since they're not in front of me, I can't really call them you people because, they're not here. I'll just go with these people. Amazing. Yeah, the NAACP, he says he's a lifetime member. And it's the first organization he ever joined. That's what he said. There is no reason that we should believe that because ridiculous. Forget about it. Sure. It was created in 1909. So he might be one of the original members. He could be an original member founded in 1909. Joe Biden, then they use the same buzzwords over and over again because the Democrat Party, just forget that they're the party of the Confederate States of America and slavery and bullwhips and plantations and Jim Crow and standing in schoolhouse doors. Let's pretend there's something other than that.
Look, the values of diversity, equity, and inclusion are the core strength of America.
You got equity right that time.
That's why I'm proud to have the most diverse administration in history.
He's proud to. It's most
Tap
diverse.
into the full talents of our country.
Yeah. Your party searched and searched and searched, and then they picked you, the oldest, crustiest white guy on the plantation. And they said, I know, let's get Joe Biden. He's the guy that led the lynching of Clarence Thomas, the high-tech lynching of Clarence. He gropes women. He smells women. Tara Reid had to flee the country because she's so terrified of Joe Biden's family and the Democrat Party destroying her. But remember, it's always all about race with the party of Jim Crow.
I promised you when I was president, I would have an administration that looked like America. We have more African Americans. We have more women. We have more minorities in our administration than any other administration in all of history. That's why we're doing so damn well.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't go around bragging about that. See, you're dragging them down now. You're not doing so damn well. The country's in anarchy. It's chaos. Everyone's lost faith in pretty much all of our public institutions. Crime is off the charts, but they lie about it. The code has been cracked on the Democrats and the Biden Justice Department lying about crime statistics. Turns out a whole lot of Democrat cities across America are not even reporting their numbers up to the Department of Justice anymore, or the Bureau of Justice Statistics. And so they're counting the numbers they have, but they don't have all the numbers because a lot of big cities with a lot of crime are not reporting their crime. And also, furthermore, they've defunded the police. The police are, sometimes arresting, letting people go. The crimes aren't even recorded. Like in New York City, you bring them in for beating old women over the head with metal clubs. And then the Democrats say, you can go. You're a criminal. We want you on the street clubbing more people on the head. Amazing. Then he apparently really wants books like Gender Queer, which is a how-to guide to raise little boys to be molested by grown men. Gender Queer. And Joe Biden then lied about book bans, which has been covered again and again, but he doesn't follow the news. He watches MSNBC.
I never imagined that in 2024 there'd be folks waiting to ban books in America.
Waiting.
What in God's name is that about? Not only that, they're trying to erase black history, literally. They're wrong. They don't understand. Black history is American history. Not a joke.
Not a joke. The Democrats are erasing Democrat history and the Democrat of their racism when Nancy Pelosi has all of the portraits in the Capitol taken down because the people in the portraits had a racist history, and literally every single one of them was a Democrat. When she ordered statues be removed from the Capitol because of their racist history, and literally every single one of them was a Democrat. You are the people erasing American history. You are the people erasing the racist history of America because it's the history of the Democrat Party. You are the people tearing down the statues of Jefferson Davis, the president of the Confederacy, who was a Democrat, and of course Abraham Lincoln, a Republican, and then a Democrat shot him in the head and murdered him. It is Democrats erasing American history, and let's not make any bones about that. But if you're talking about gender queer being in grammar school libraries, teaching little boys to perform acts of oral gratification upon grown men, the traveling salesman that shows up at the door, which is what that book is all about, then yeah, the book isn't banned. You Democrats can still buy it and stay home and, do whatever you do with your Palmolive, and the book Gender Queer is Palmolive. I don't even know it, but never mind that. Pretty amazing. And then he just gets everything wrong. But here he is with a funny word. He's trying to say insurrectionists, but his brain doesn't work.
He calls the erectionists who stormed Capitol Hill patriots.
The erectionists. He's talking about Trump now, attacking Trump. He's talking to the NAACP. Now, sure. Let's keep in mind that when Donald Trump was president, African-American unemployment rates hit the lowest number ever in the history of the country. Hispanic unemployment rates, lowest unemployment rates ever. Asian American unemployment, the lowest ever. And because Donald Trump had a booming economy and inexpensive energy costs, and energy has increased about 30% under Joe Biden. In fact, overall inflation under Joe Biden is up almost 30%. It's about 29% overall inflation. When you add year one inflation to year two inflation to year three inflation, which is how that works. You don't start from scratch at the beginning of each year. And here's Joe Biden. They spent trillions and trillions of dollars on infrastructure and things. And at John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York, $2.3 billion in contracts. And there's one proviso. No white people get any of the contracts. That's it. Not that they're racists or they're trying to, not be racist to make up for their racist history. Never mind that. Joe Biden, because they promised, it hasn't been delivered, $16 billion for historically black colleges and universities. And just throwing money at everybody. We'll pay off your student loans that try to buy votes of young people because they're doing bad in the polls with voters from 18 to 29. So here is $1 trillion to pay off student debt. Right, it's more than $100 billion. And then here's $2.3 billion for John F. Kennedy Airport, but none of it will go to white people, which they think is kosher somehow. They're jihadis for the insanity that is the left in America. Here's Joe Biden lying to the NAACP.
We're investing more money than ever in black families and communities. We deliver checks to deposit in people's pockets.
Yeah, sure. That's what's going on, because the money's not going into anybody's pockets. It's coming out of your pockets. Everything is more expensive now. Just amazing. You're damn. I haven't even gotten to my favorite soundbite yet. My favorite soundbite's still coming up from the NAACP. You know that your feet are your foundation all day, every day, supporting you every step of the way through all of your life's adventures. But are you tired of settling for shoes that promise comfort and fail to deliver? Introducing G-Defy shoes with VersaShock technology. While ordinary shoe brands' fancy shoes rely on EVA foam soles for cushioning, G-Defy shoes, well, they go above and beyond. With superior shock absorption and trampoline-like energy return, G-Defy shoes help provide you with the relief you deserve from foot pain, knee pain, ankle, even back discomfort. When you choose G-Defy, you're not just getting shoes, you're getting a complete solution for your comfort needs. Each and every pair come with 2 free supportive orthotics that can help align your body, plus a special lateral stabilizer embedded in the shoes to help improve your stride or the way you run. Listener, this show, listen, you're listeners to this show. We've got a special offer for you, and it's just for you. Visit gdefy.com today, and you're going to get $30 off your order of $150 or more with the code CHRIS. That's me, CHRIS, naturally. That's gdefy.com. And don't forget to use the code CHRIS for $30 off your orders of $150 or more. Experience ultimate comfort with G-Defy shoes. Visit gdefy.com today. Yes, sir. Yeah, my favorite Joe Biden is still coming up from the NAACP thing. He really doesn't know what decade it is. He has no idea what's going on around him. He is a sock puppet for the corrupt. Joe Biden yesterday with the NAACP in Detroit, Michigan, racialized January 6th. Talking to the NAACP, he's a founding member. He was born a member of the NAACP. It's the first thing he ever joined. That's what he said. He's lying. And yesterday he told the NAACP in Detroit, boy, you think January 6th was bad the way it was? What if it was all black people?
Let me ask you, what do you think he would have done on January the 6th if black Americans had stormed the Capitol? No, I'm serious.
He's serious.
What do you think? I can only imagine.
Me too. I can imagine he would have done the same thing that he did on January 6th and recommend that they go down there and peacefully and patriotically make their voices known. And are you talking about a group of black Trump supporters that went to the Capitol? What do you think he would have done then? Gee, gosh, it's really hard to say. I hadn't thought about what if, Queen Elizabeth had wings? What if that's pretty amazing stuff. Yeah, what do you think Trump would have done then if January 6th had been all black pride because it was Trump supporters, right? If I understand this correctly. I think I remember that. And what would he have done? I'm guessing pretty much exactly the same thing that he did January 6th. All right, next, coming up, Joe Biden has no idea when he was vice president of the United States, and he proved it again. I'm surprised he didn't talk about Bo and fire pits. Now, I mentioned earlier that the International Criminal Court is threatening to issue an arrest warrant for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and for his defense minister on charges of war crimes. They want to arrest the International Criminal Court, Benjamin Netanyahu and his defense minister, the Israeli defense, because the war is being waged against them by genocidal, bloodthirsty ghouls. Well, a story broke this morning. Amal Clooney, who is married to the Hollywood actor George Clooney, and her real name is Al-Muddin. Amal Al-Muddin is her real name, from Beirut, Lebanon. And married Clooney, life's pretty good, living in Great Britain, I guess. Amal Clooney, the wife of Hollywood actor George Clooney, played crucial role in the International Criminal Court proposing arrest warrant for Netanyahu. Clooney, a human rights lawyer, sure, act as an advisor to the panel of experts. They have a panel of experts to recommend that the ICC chief prosecutor, Karim Khan, not that they're stacking the deck, they've got Amal Al-Muddin and the chief prosecutor, Karim Khan, seeking to issue arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, and Hamas Gaza Strip leader Yahya Sinwar. Sure, well, one of those is a war criminal. The others are defending civilization. But Amal Clooney, who married an actor, and she's a lawyer in Great Britain, They call them a banister or a solicitor or something like that. You can't slide down them, though. Remarkable stuff. So that is the latest update on that. Amal Clooney. Hollywood, everybody used to say, oh, Hollywood is run by the Jews. Apparently now Hollywood, because it's all lefties, even the Jews hate the Jews in Hollywood. Clooney, not Jewish. Amal Alamuddin, not Jewish. Beirut, Lebanon, place of birth, 46 years old, married to George Clooney. Wants Benjamin Netanyahu in handcuffs, put on trial as a war criminal because terrorists, genocidal terrorists, are attacking them. Also, just a quick one here. Front page of the Washington Times. Legal marijuana goes up in smoke under Thai about face. That's the nation of Thailand. Perhaps the path to legal marijuana in a country with a global reputation for the quality and potency of its local weed was never destined to be a smooth toke. A smooth toke. One toke over the line, sweet Jesus. 2 years after Thailand's military-led government decriminalized cannabis, the country's elected civilian prime minister abruptly announced last week that he wants to end legalized recreational use of marijuana by the end of the year. That would close thousands of licensed weed shops and impose punishments on anyone involved with marijuana unless for medical use. Thailand was the first Asian nation to legalize cannabis for medical use in 2022. Critics say the market has virtually no regulation and are concerned about drug abuse and crime rates. Imagine that. Now, all over Washington, D.C., everybody's smoking pot, walking up and down the streets. You walk into store after store in Washington, D.C., and they sell pot over the counter. And hasn't made things a lot better. And I'm not even a big anti-pot person. Truth is, I know people that smoke pot, and people smoke pot. A lot of people smoke pot. But that said, in Washington, D.C., and they didn't even know how to legalize it. They screwed that up. And now people just sell it over the counter at stores, even though they're not supposed to. But it doesn't matter because it's anarchy. And last year, we had the highest homicide rate in D.C. In the last quarter century. 2023, the highest homicide rate, number of homicides in 26 years. Why would that be a problem? Not a problem. Okay, couple more quick sound bites. Because Joe Biden, we got a little bit more of Joe Biden too. Joe Biden. Well, let's go to number 17. Number 17. Here's Joe Biden talking to the NAACP yesterday in Detroit, Michigan. And he talks about how Barack Obama, when he was president, called Joe Biden into action when he was vice president to respond to the pandemic, which didn't happen while Barack Obama was president and didn't happen, therefore, when Joe Biden was vice president. It happened when Donald Trump was president, but never mind that. Here's Joe Biden yesterday.
And when I was vice president, things were kind of bad during the pandemic.
No.
And what happened was,
no.
Barack said to me, go to Detroit and help fix it. Well, poor mayor, he spent more time with me than he ever thought he was going to have to. God love you.
The mayor of Detroit is there, and the mayor of Detroit must know that that never happened. But because they're Democrats, they all laugh like buffoons and pretend that it's true because their minds are in the Soviet Union. What is it? A mind is a terrible thing to waste? Not really in Joe Biden's case, but certainly it's wasted. It's just not a terrible thing to waste. So wait a minute. When I was vice president and Joe Biden and things got bad during the pandemic, things were bad during the pandemic. No, that's not what happened at all. That's not true. The New York Post has the story, but the Washington Post and the New York Times do not, and CNN does not. Biden bizarrely suggests he was VP during pandemic in latest blunder. Just extraordinary. Now, I got to tell you, it's 18 seconds. I got to want to play it again because President Biden declared Sunday that things got kind of bad when he was vice president during the COVID-19 pandemic, even though the virus hit more than 3 years after he left office. The 81-year-old Biden, who finished his 8 years as Barack Obama's VP in January of 2017, suggested he was still in the post at the time of the outbreak during a campaign event with the NAACP. Joe Biden is so confused.
And when I was vice president, things were kind of bad during the pandemic.
No.
And what happened was Barack said to me, go to Detroit.
Right.
And help fix it.
What is now, all of that is completely delusional, made up. He is a maroon. His brain is completely broken. He needs to step down as president. If we had a legitimate news media, it'd be all about Joe Biden's incapacity and the need for him to step down. Congressman Byron Donalds is a great congressman from Florida, a wonderful guy. I met him once, only briefly. And my bride has done business with the Byron Donalds family, full disclosure. And Mrs. Donalds, wonderful also. Byron Donalds on Joe Biden and black voters to whom he's pandering so fecklessly.
He should be worried about black voters. He absolutely should. But it's his own fault for actually instituting a radical agenda that's hurting our country. It's probably too late for him.
It's probably too late for him. I got to tell you, just completely crazy. All right, I tell you what, Michael, let's take a phone call. And then I got to update you on what's going on in New York at the Trump trial today. It turns out Michael Cohen's a liar. And CNN found out about it today, and he stole $420,000 from Donald Trump. And at CNN, they're like, gosh, I wonder if that's a good thing. All right, let's go to the telephones. Let's go to Jim calling from Gainesville, Virginia. Jim, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning, Chris.
Hey, Jim.
Listen to you every opportunity, and I record your Newsmax nightly.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very kindly.
You bet. Biden seems to be setting the requirements and the agenda for the debate, and Trump wants to have a drug test, which I think should happen, but I think he'd also have to have two labs doing the analysis. Not that I don't trust, Biden's group. And he should demand his side provide Biden with some questions and not just go on whoever's running the show. And they should be handed in on live TV. There should be no earplugs in anyone's ears. And we don't want another Donna Brazile effect. And we know that the questions they ask Trump are going to be along the lines of, have you quit pushing grandmas in wheelchairs down staircases and that type of question. So at any rate, that's my suggestion, that he at least get some questions in there from his side. I had one other comment about Panama stopping illegals at their border from coming north.
Uh-huh.
I think that's going to cost the crooked government officials in Mexico a lot of dollars, and particularly the cartels. And I think that Panama is probably doing that because I heard Mexico is considering making their own canal across a narrow section of the southern part of their country, which would put Panama out of business.
It would, and the Chinese have kind of taken over to a large extent the Panama Canal, which is a very dangerous reality. Now, you ticked off a lot of really good stuff there, Jim, I've got to say. One of you talked about the Donna Brazile effect. Donna Brazile, of course, was the DNC chair hired by CNN. And in 2016, the Hillary Clinton-Donald Trump debate, she was at CNN, and she handed over the questions that CNN was going to use in the debate to Hillary Clinton and the Hillary Clinton camp, which is what we call cheating. And I don't know if you're aware of this. You probably are, Jim. You sound like a well-informed guy. Donna Brazile is no longer with CNN, right? And CNN is hosting the first debate this year. ABC News is hosting the second debate this year. And Donna Brazile is now at ABC.
Well, I'm not surprised that she's with one of the, regular media, I'll call it.
Right. Yeah, that's right. And you're right about the earplugs because, we got these little earbuds all over the place, hearing aids, and they're all tiny, and they can hide in Joe Biden's ear canal. they could feed him responses and answers. And you're right about the questions being the deck has been stacked by the Democrat Party for the debates with CNN and Jake Tapper, who's a former Democrat Capitol Hill staffer, and Dana Bash, who's now ex-husband, was an Obama administration official. So they stacked the deck with Democrats everywhere. I've always thought that it should be hosted by the Heritage Foundation, and you want to put a crook in there, you get somebody from the Brookings Institution. They're involved in the Hillary dossier. It's a Democrat think tank in Washington on Mass Ave. But the Heritage Foundation is legitimate, and they should be involved in these debates, no doubt about it. And I hope Mexico builds another canal. We should. Competition is good. I think that'd be a wonderful thing. But the drug testing, the check for earplugs, great suggestions. And you got to look out for the Donna Brazil effect because, these news organizations, so-called, hire Democrats from the Democrat machine and they stock the pond with them. And that's just another way of making it crooked and stacking the deck. Right, Jim?
You bet. Chris, I appreciate you. We need more Chris's, and I appreciate you taking my call, partner.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very kindly. I appreciate it, Jim. Great points made by Jim because he's an American, and we're all on America's side around here. All right, now let's, since, Jim, you brought up CNN and crooked and the Don Brazil effect, and we went to Jake Tapper, the former Democrat Hill staffer who worked for Congresswoman Mezvinsky, a Democrat from Pennsylvania. Her husband was a member of Congress, too. He went to prison for being corrupt. Her son married Chelsea Clinton. I assume that Jake was invited to the wedding. And, of course, then Dana Bash, whose ex-husband, Jeremy Bash, was a Democrat campaign person who got a BS job at the CIA, not doing intelligence, just doing politics. And he's one of the people that signed on to that letter with the Felonious 51 lying to all of us about the New York Post reporting on the Hunter Biden laptop. The lies are so big that no one would dare not believe them. So let's go now to CNN from this morning, not long ago, in fact, when it was learned out of the courthouse in New York where the Trump lynching is going on, that Michael Cohen, the sleazy lawyer, stole $420,000 from the Trump Organization. And this just emerged today on the stand during cross-examination of Michael Cohen. It's $420,000. And Jake Tapper was on the set being his Democrat self, with Laura Coates being her Democrat self. And they were shocked, I say, to find out that there is gambling going on at Rick's and that Michael Cohen is a sleazeball who robbed Trump of $420,000.
I'm still kind of reeling from the revelation that Michael Cohen stole money from the Trump Organization, and that wasn't, at least to my knowledge, that the prosecution didn't get that out earlier, because it's not as though the prosecution is going to be helped by further evidence that Michael Cohen is a shady character.
Notice his tone and his language and what his concern is, that this should have come out earlier, because he's rooting for the prosecution. And he just made very clear in what he just said there that he's on team prosecution, team lynch Trump, team get rid of Trump. So the Washington Examiner has the story. Ashley Oliver, Trump trial, colon. They love their colons, even at the Washington Examiner, which is a real newspaper. Cohen admits to stealing from the Trump Organization. And out of New York, Donald Trump's defense attorney grilled Michael Cohen on Monday during the former president's hush money trial. It's a non-disclosure agreement. Every network has plenty of non-disclosure agreements, usually with women, usually for the same reasons, on how Cohen lied about a reimbursement request in 2017 so that the Trump Organization would overpay him by tens of thousands of dollars. Attorney Todd Blanche questioned Cohen during a third day of cross-examination about the reimbursement, which was incorporated into a larger $420,000 payment plan that is at the center of the charges Trump is facing. Laura Coates and Jake Tapper.
I'm shocked that we are hearing it for the first time on day 3 of cross-examination of Michael Cohen, that the prosecution did not take the sting out, did not front it, because it goes to the heart of the actual case. It's not just about establishing him as a liar. We're talking about $420,000. We've already seen the payment
Right, this
structure
isn't like
here.
$15.
It's not $15.
It's not $15. It's $420,000. $420, dude. The boy. And they're shocked. They're shocked. They're not shocked that he's a liar and a thief and a crook and a sleazy New York lawyer. They're shocked that the prosecution hadn't gotten that out there earlier so that it didn't shock Jake the Democrat Tapper and Laura the Democrat Coates. What was it that really shocked them then? The timing? Our news media is the most corrupt institution in America, just by the way. So does the administration of New York Democrat Mayor Eric Adams. They're assailing members of the NYPD that arrested pro-Palestinian protesters over the weekend because one pro-Palestinian, they're dressed like they're with the terrorist group Black September, with black ski masks on. They look like they're about to kidnap the Israeli athletes at the Munich Olympics. And they're attacking the police, and a police officer hit one of the protesters. And immediately, Eric Adams is going to investigate that police officer. Just amazing. I didn't even have time to get to the MSNBC upset about Michael Cohen stealing $420,000 from the Trump organization. But that's so far the big news out of there today. And Joe Biden thinks he was vice president during the Wuhan because he has no idea what's going on around him. When he was in the Senate, when he was vice president, he needs to step down.